Hello guys, we are back with our next lecture. In this lecture, let us go through the next topic, that is a concurrency control using protocols, guys. So basically till now what we discussed, guys. So till now in every topic we are given the schedulers. So they gave the schedulers, and those schedulers, whether they are conflict serializable or not, or they are view serializable or not, they are cascadeless rollback is there or not, recoverable or not. So these kind of properties we are checking based on the question, right? So they are giving a scheduler and we are determining whether it is conflict serious or whether it is good or not. That's what we are deciding, right? Yes. But when it comes to reality, so in reality we want to design those schedulers, right, without these issues, right? Yes, so that is what we will be learning from now on, guys. There are total, I think, around 5 algorithms or 5 approaches. Okay, so if you just want the names, I can just show you the names first. So the first one will be time stamping. The next one will be Thomas Wright rule. Then basic 2PL. Then conservative 2PL. Then rigorous 2PL. Then strict 2PL. I think 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the 6 algorithms which we'll be discussing in the next 6 lectures, guys. Okay, yes. So from 10th lecture to 16th lecture, right? Yes. Okay, so let us start. Okay, so as till now we checked the schedulers and set their properties. Now using protocols we are going to design them. So that's the exact thing which is written here. So we must ensure conflict serializability. 2 conditions are there. So basically belonging to different transactions must operate on same data. At least one write should be there, right? Yes. And those things should satisfy the things, right? Yes. So let us start with our first algorithm, that is a time stamping algorithm. So this is a quite easy and interesting algorithm, guys. So from the name, what you can understand, guys. So the thing with respect to this is, so assume that this is a process, right? Or this is a transaction. So what we do is, for every transaction, at what time it is coming, the exact time or some kind of parameter, we are going to fix itself. So if this transaction came late, this will be after that. So a simple example will be time stamping of Ti. So assume that Ti is one transaction, Tj is another transaction. Okay, so this is Ti and this is Tj. So this transaction Ti will look in this way. So the time, when I wrote the notes, the time is 7:27:03 p.m. 8/9/2020. Okay, yes. So this name is this. This time stamp is this. Similarly for this, the time stamp is this. After 5 seconds it came. So who is a senior, guys, among both? Guys, senior and junior is a mandatory term to be perfect in this particular topic, guys. In this particular topic of time stamping. In next one it's not that much important, but here it's really important. Okay. So now among these two, who is a senior? So senior means what, guys? In simple words, assume that who entered first is the senior, guys. So who entered first in this, between these two guys? So this is the senior and this is the junior, right? Yes. Got it? Yes. So in this way they will assign. So for easy understanding, let us take a small example. So the time stamp of a Ti is 1. The time stamp of Tj is 2. Okay, so if you want more clarity, you can assume it as T1 and T2. So at that time it will be really easy for us to understand, right? Yes. So T1 is 1, T2 is a 2. So after T1, T2 came. So that is the reason why the value of T1 is less than T2. So even here also the same case. So 3 is less than 8, right? Yes. Okay. So with that understanding, we can say that Ti is less than Tj. So basically Ti is nothing but the senior. Yeah, T2 is nothing but the junior, or Tj is nothing but the junior, right? Yes. Okay, so in simple words, each transaction has a unique timestamp, guys. Got it? Yes. So now with your understanding, now who will be given more priority, guys? But most of the, okay, so when it comes to here, the junior will be given most priority, guys. So you can assume in this way. So if you are in a college, so who will be given more priority by your faculty? So the faculty will always be good with your juniors rather than seniors, right? So in the same way, right? Yes. Okay. So in some colleges it might be different, but I'm just giving you a small example. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now when it comes to time stamping, so you understood the concept, right? Yes. So now the major question will be, okay, so we understood this, but what is the major advantage with respect to this junior-senior relation? So when it comes to time stamping, here we are going to use 2 variables, guys. So the first variable is write time stamp. The second variable is read time stamp. So whenever a particular transaction wants to write or read something, so assume that Ti. Okay, so let me take a rough sheet, guys. I think if I explain it on rough sheet, it will be more clarity, right? Okay. Yes. Okay. So assume that Ti's timestamp is 1, T2's, sorry, let us convert it into easy way. So T1's timestamp is 1, T2's timestamp is 2. Okay, so when it comes to this case, we are having a write timestamp as well as a read timestamp, right? Yes. So assume that T1 first wants to read something. Okay. Okay, so once it reads the particular thing, so what we do is, first of all, before giving the permission for it to read, so let us assume the initial values for these two are zeros, guys. Okay, yes. So let us assume in that way. Okay, yes. Okay, so now what we do is, so once a T1 wants to read, you are going to compare the value with respect to read. So this is this value, right? So this value with the T1's timestamp. Okay, so in these two, who is a senior, guys? This guy is senior, right? So the timestamp 0 is senior and timestamp 1 is junior. Remember, junior is having all rights, guys. He can do anything. So that is the reason why you will give always chance for him and you will update this to 1 and this particular read operation will be done. Okay. Similarly, assume that this T1 wants to do write operation also. So what it will happen? So again the same thing, 0 with 1. So 1. Okay. So now assume that T2 came and T2 now wants to do the read operation and write operation. So now what will be the value updation? So 1 with 2. So 1 is less than 2. So it will again update. 1 is less than 2. It will update. So assume that T1. So assume that the user 1 again wants to read. Or assume that this particular write operation was not successful at that time. Due to some delay, this operation did not occur. So at that time, this 1 will not be there. From 0 directly we move it to 2, right? Yes. So now this operation he needs to do at some point, right? So now assume that he wants to do it now. So now what we will do, we are going to check T1's timestamp with the write timestamp here. So is 2 less than 1? No, right? Yes. So this is an issue, right? So here we cannot perform this write operation. Got it? Yes. So now your question will be, okay, so if it cannot be performed now, then this T1 can never execute, right? So now the only solution for this is, so this particular T1 should roll back and it should do the rollback. So whatever it has done, it should roll back and T2 should again enter with a new timestamp. So now the timestamp will be 3. So now T2 can do read operation as well as write operation. So this is the whole concept of with respect to timestamping, guys. So I hope everyone got at least some basic idea, right? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, so let us go through the theory now. So write a timestamp. So write a timestamp is the largest time. So who will have the more time, guys? The junior. Largest timestamp of any transaction that executes write of queue successfully. Similarly, read timestamp is the largest timestamp, that is nothing but the junior timestamp of any transaction that executes a read operation. So in the same way how I explained you an example, so here also I took an example. I checked the same conditions, guys. Okay, yes. So the final conclusion is this. So whenever the timestamp, okay, so the new timestamp is greater than or equal to our write timestamp. So basically whenever the request is from the junior, so basically from the junior, if there is a request, we are going to accept it. So in any another case, we are going to cancel it, right? Yes. So if you can take this example only, guys, you can understand it clearly, right? So if you want me to write an example, I will be writing it here only. So the write timestamp at the end, assume that all the write timestamps are 2. Okay. So assume that here in first case, this should be less, right? Yes. So assume that T1 was delayed and he came late. So his timestamp is 1. So will you give him a chance? No, right? So that is the reason why this statement is wrong. Assume that new T3 came and it wants to execute. So its timestamp is 3. So 3 is greater than or equal to this. So that is a true, right? Yes. Similarly, when it comes to this next case also, you can take the same values. But the only change is here, read timestamp and write timestamp. Get it? Got it? Yes. So the only trick which I say here is junior can do anything, guys. So he is having all the rights. You can assume in that way. Okay? Yes. So now I hope everyone got at least some basic idea with respect to this whole approach, right? Yes. So now let us go through that final conclusion. So in examination, most of the students will be thinking like, okay, so we understood the whole concept. Then in examination, what the examiner will ask? So the common thing which the examiner loves to ask is this particular thing, guys. So these are 4 statements. Who is the king? Either the junior or the senior. He might give in terms of these values. So here, if you recall, I gave you with respect to these numbers, right? So in the same way, he will give you some expression and he will say that something is delayed. Who will execute? Like that he can ask, right? Yes. So and similarly, there is a standard table, guys. So I think that table will be filled at the end. I'll be showing you that table, and I'll be dedicating a separate video for this table based on the requirement. Okay, yes. So this is the table which the examiner always interested in asking, guys. He will say in a Thomas Wright rule or in time stamping, is recoverability available or not? Yes or no? So in that way he will ask. Okay. So the final conclusion is, if you take any scheduler, it follows config serializability, view serializability, and there is no deadlock, because here whenever there is an issue, we are going to roll back, and we are going to roll back completely, and we are going to give that a new chance, right? Yes. And there is no recoverability and there is no cascadelessness, guys, because these two are not satisfied, because there is a chance of dirty read here, right? Yes. Okay. Yes. So now I hope everyone got a clear idea with respect to this time stamping, right? Yes. Okay. So in the next lecture, we'll be discussing in detail about Thomas Wright rule, guys. So this is also an interesting and easy concept, guys. Okay. Yes. So in the next lecture, let us discuss with respect to Thomas Wright rule. Okay. Yes. So let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more awesome videos like this. Thank you.